I'm Lexxie. I'm in the US. A very popular, is it a lunch item? Is it a snack item? A food item in the UK is a sausage roll. They're classic, right? At least that's my understanding. But they're really not a thing at all here in the US. So I decided to kind of take my take on it. And by no means is what I'm presenting today a traditional sausage roll. I'm under no delusions about that. I wanted to have a little bit of fun with it. And I decided to do that for two reasons. One is I'm not a huge fan of sausage. Although recently it has been suggested to me that the sausage in a sausage roll doesn't have that casing on it. And the casing is at least 50% of the reason I'm not a fan of sausage. The other reason is I'm also pretty sure that the sausage that we get here in the US is seasoned differently. So even if I was to make one with more traditional sausage or actual sausage, it still wouldn't give me an accurate representation of the flavors of a traditional UK sausage roll. So I take kind of a Greek spin on it, or at least an Americanized Greek spin on it. My experience with Greek food is about this much. So again, I'm not trying to claim that anything I'm doing here is authentic. It's just a general flavor profile. So let's head on into the kitchen and I will show you my take on a sausage roll. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is dice up a small onion. And I'm gonna dice this pretty small because I want it to kind of disappear into the meat. Run the knife through it again for good measure. And in the bowl this goes. Now what is sausage really except meat and spices? So we're gonna make some sausage, sorta. This is ground lamb, and I love lamb. I just think it's delicious, and it's, at least in my area, it's pretty hard to find, so I don't get to eat it much. I'm gonna put in about 2/3 of this package, so about 2/3 of a pound. Now this, I'm gonna save and brown to put on some pizza later in the week. Need to wash my meaty hands. Give me a second. Okay, so here comes the spices. We're gonna add some pepper. And we're gonna add some salt. And we're gonna add some oregano. If I can get this lid off. And gonna add some garlic. Gotta wash the top for the garlic. And then I'm going to add some lemon zest. If you don't have a microplane, get a microplane. They make zesting citrus so much easier. For this amount of meat, about half a lemon looks good to me. And then I'm gonna add in some feta, because why not? Is there really ever a bad time for cheese? Gonna add about half of this package, which is, it's 170 gram or a 6-ounce package, so I've put in about half of that. And then we're just gonna smush this up and combine it. That might have been a lot of cheese. But again, is that really a bad thing? Okay, I'm gonna set this aside and I'm gonna wash my hands again, and we'll be right back to assemble these. Okay, I'm gonna start on the back side of a baking sheet because I want a nice flat surface that I can roll out this puff pastry, make it thinner. This box does not want to cooperate. And I'm just not a fan of rolling it on the countertop. I know, it doesn't make sense. I didn't say I made sense. I'm only going to use one sheet, and I'm going to set that other sheet aside to make probably chicken pot pie later in the week. And then you just need a rolling pin, and you're going to roll this out a bit. You don't need it super thin. I just like it a little bit thinner than it comes in the package. Okay. And then I'm going to cut this in half. Carefully pick this up, flip my cutting board over, and now it's time to assemble. I'm gonna form my sausage meat, gonna form my mixture, we'll go with mixture, into a log. And put it down the middle of the puff pastry. You can come right to the end because this is going to shrink when it cooks. a little off that one and add to this one. Okay. And then, okay, I got a little bit of water here to help me seal these. You could use an egg wash, but I forgot to buy eggs this week. Happens to the best of us. I'm just gonna put some water on here. Yes, I could use a basting brush. It's in the dirty dishes. And stretch this up to close if it doesn't quite make it. And then we're going to put the seam on the bottom. That's the other reason I like to roll these out, the dough out before I make these. It lets me get 2 sausage rolls or 2 sets out of one sheet. Okay, seam side down. And then I'm going to cut these in half. I want them kind of big. If you wanted to cut them into quarters, you can do that too. I'm going to be very careful about my silicone mat to not cut into that. There. And then I'm going to put a couple of vent slices in the top. I don't know how necessary those are with the ends open, but we're going to do it anyway. And then these are going to go in the oven at 425 for about 20-25 minutes. You can stick a meat thermometer in the middle and take the temperature to make sure that it's cooked the way you like it. I'll put some meat temperatures for lamb here, or maybe here. You know the drill by now. But I will see you back at our regularly scheduled location when these are hot and delicious. Now, if you wanted this more golden, you could have put an egg wash on it. But like I said, forgot to buy the eggs. That will be remedied in next week's grocery shop. But let's taste it, huh? Mmm. Mmm. So good. And I mean that as in so good. I love lamb. And the lemon zest. And the flaky puff pastry. This, for me, is just about perfect. If I'm not careful, I'm just going to sit here and you'll watch me eat that whole thing without talking. If you have never had lamb, try lamb. Because it's like the most rich and unctuous meat. It is so delicious. And I'll tell you, there was a lot of moisture in that meat. So it did take like 35-40 minutes in the oven before that puff pastry was fully cooked. It's been a little while since I've made these, and I didn't remember it taking that long, so maybe it was just this particular batch of lamb had a lot of moisture in it. But so good, worth the extra time. This is another one of those things that I forget about and really needs to be on my menu more often. If you try this, or if you have your own take on a sausage roll, let me know that down below. Let's have a conversation. But that's all I've got for today. So if you could give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye!